first episode of my suburban jungle. My name is Lindsay and I'm going to be talking to you over the next however many videos about my treasured houseplant collection and a bit about my passion. Basically, I started in earnest collecting houseplants about a year ago, and my husband for my birthday bought me my first few houseplants. Started off with succulents because I thought they would be easy, and I've since progressed on to aroids and tropical jungle plants, and my living room, which is where we are right now, is actually more of a greenhouse than it is a living room, because anybody who collects plants will understand this. One plant is never enough, and 50 plants is never enough, and 100 plants is never enough, and as the obsession goes, you start wanting rarer and more unusual plants. You also find what suits your home and what suits your personal taste, and it just sort of ballooned from there. That's just how it all happened for me. If you can hear jingling and chewing, it is my dog Frodo, who is he'll probably make an appearance at some point, but he's a bit of a pain in the neck. He's lovely, but he is a Velcro dog and he's stuck to me, so if you hear him snuffling around, please do forgive me. Right, so I thought for today, for my very first video, I'd talk about the plants that are my current obsession really, which are aroids, Philodendron, Monstera, anything that you would find in the jungles of South America basically. So I have some of my plants here to show, and I'll try and insert images, but I'm not the most tech savvy, so you will have to bear with me for the first few videos till I get to grips with the technology and the software. Okay, so where do I start? I'll start with my first baby philodendron that I bought, which is a Philodendron Addendum Silversword. And as you can see, if I hold it closer to the camera, I hope it focuses, it's got these beautiful silver green leaves, and it has a climbing habit, which means that it would naturally climb up a tree, because philodendron comes from the Greek. Philo means to love and dendron means trees. So all these plants actually love trees, and their natural growth habit for the most part is to climb up trees until they find the light, and then they put out huge, beautiful, glorious leaves. Yeah, so this is my Philodendron Addendum Silversword. All right, my next plant. Now these are all babies; they don't have their adult foliage yet. So, you know, she'll come back when they've produced adult leaves to show you how much they've made progress. But bear in mind, I acquired all these plants this year. So this one, I don't know whether you can see that. It is a Philodendron Black Cardinal. Now this was one of my gamble purchases. I actually ordered these from eBay from a seller that they said they were in Thailand, but when the plants actually arrived, they'd come from South Korea. I did do everything legally. I did request a phytosanitary certificate, and it all came through the UK customs fine, but it did take a month for the plants to arrive. It took the sellers 3 weeks to ship, and then the plants spent a week in the post. So, you know, if you've got things that weren't perhaps as hardy as philodendrons, you might want to think twice about ordering from somewhere like that. But I can talk about the process of importing in more detail in another video, and I'll be able to show you what a phytosanitary certificate looks like and all that kind of thing. But yeah, this is my Philodendron Black Cardinal. The next one that came with that order is one that I was very excited about, but bear in mind again, immature foliage. But this is my Philodendron Birkin. Now, I think what I'll try and do is insert pictures of mature foliage so that you can see what I'm hoping these plants are going to look like. But Philodendron Birkin is kind of a hyped one at the moment. It has beautiful white stripes in its leaves when it becomes mature. Where the veining is, the veining turns white. It almost looks like it's been chalked onto the plant, and I'm very excited to see what this plant looks like when it begins to mature. Okay, the next one that came, because they were a pack of 4 that I ordered from South Korea, and this one is one that you don't really hear very much about. This is a Philodendron Salem Gold, and what's interesting about this plant, if I hold it close enough to the camera, it has these beautiful lime green leaves, but do you see the stems? They're kind of a very pale rhubarb pink colour, which I thought was beautiful. I've got a lot of plants with very dark green foliage, and so it's nice to actually have some that have got a much more lime green colour to them, because it adds a nice contrast. It just lifts the colour basically, and I personally love lime green. Green is one of my most favourite colours. So I'm interested to see how this one grows. And the last one that came from South Korea is the holy grail of plants. It is the Pink Princess Philodendron. Now this one, you can see a little bit of pink there. It's not actually expressing that much variegation at the moment. It has had a new leaf, and I'll see if I can put a close-up picture, but it's only got the slightest flecking of pink, which was a little disappointing, because if any one of you have seen a Pink Princess Philodendron, you kind of want the ones that have got the big splashes of pink on the leaves. Also, with Pink Princess Philodendron, the variegation's not stable, so you actually have to do a little bit of watchful waiting. They have to have the right light conditions. You have to do pruning of them if the leaves start to revert back to green, or if you get the coveted entirely pink leaf, you have to take it off, because it will kill the plant, because you don't want the plant putting energy into something that is not going to have any chlorophyll in it. It's not going to actually be able to photosynthesize for the plant. So I'll do a video on Pink Princess Philodendron care as well in a later video, but I just thought for today I'll just introduce you to some of my favourite plant babies. Right, I do actually have some philodendrons up on the wall. I'll insert some pictures of them, but they are all related. They're all Philodendron hederaceum derivient plants. I have a standard Philodendron hederaceum scandens. I have a Philodendron hederaceum scandens Brazil, and I have a Philodendron hederaceum micans. Now, out of the 3, I can't pick a favourite, because I love heart-shaped leaves, I love variegation, I love velvet leaves, so it is very hard to pick a favourite, but I really love these 3 plants, and they have pride of place on my living room plant wall that is over there, that I'll try and insert pictures of somewhere here if I can manage to do it. So I have a couple of cuttings of, I've got one of the hederaceum scandens and one of the hederaceum micans. As you can see, they're both beautiful and dark green. This one has gorgeous velvet leaves, and on both plants actually the leaves come through a very different colour to how they're going to be when they're mature. On the Scandens Brazil they come through quite a light green, and on the micans they kind of come through in this beautiful bronzy reddy green colour, and they're stunning, to be honest, when they come through, and then they mature to this rich dark velvety green. I think velvet leaves are my favourite, I've got to be honest. Behind me I don't know whether you can see this here, but he's been poorly, he's had thrips. Fingers crossed we're out of the woods. I discovered them a couple of days ago, and the plant has been in quarantine. It has been thoroughly hosed down from head to toe. Well, after the last time I had a pest, I've gone straight for the heavy duty pesticides, which is perhaps not the most environmentally friendly option, but when you've got several £100 worth of plants, I didn't want to risk any pests getting onto my pink princess or onto my variegated monstera, which is up here. I don't want to risk those plants, so I've bypassed the organic methods and gone straight for a pesticide this time. Draw from that what conclusions you will. My last philodendron that I will share with you is very precious to me. Purchased this as a cut-in before my plants from South Korea came, and I purchased it as a rooted cut-in, but I do own another pink princess philodendron, and this one has beautiful pink sectoral variegation as well as some flecks, and you can see here there's a new leaf coming, and I've examined it quite closely. It's got a lot of pink, so I'm very excited about this one. It was fairly expensive, but it's worth it because it's beautiful. That was just a brief introduction to me and some of my most favourite plants, basically. In the future I will do videos about specific things with care tips. I will talk about the conditions that these plants need in your home. I'll talk about my soil mix. I'll talk about pest treatment if you like. I've got a lot more plants that I can share with you, so these videos could go for a while. So any constructive criticism or feedback in the comments would be gratefully received, and hope to see you soon. Thank you. Bye.